Welcome everyone. Today we'll have an amazing Beastmaster build for over 1100 corruption. Now before we go into the raid plays and also demonstration of the build, I really want to show you guys the stats behind the build. So if you have a look at the effective HP and using an endgame setup, you can reach over 400,000 effective HP against physical damage, close to 200,000 effective HP for all of the damage that's available against the Beastmaster, together with tons of reduced damage from critical strikes and also 80% armor mitigation, 49% block mitigation with close to 200% block chance. Yes, this is a super tanky Beastmaster build with tons of health and also tons of ward retention, 700% ward retention to gain tons of warding. And one of the highlights for this Beastmaster is that it will be going onto low life, which means you will be dealing more damage and also take less damage while on low life. And now that I showcase a bit of the stats, we'll be coming over to Liquid Paper's demonstration of the Earthquake Beastmaster. Now I have looked into a lot of variety of Beastmaster with the summons, with the totems, with the scrolls, and this is by far the strongest and also the tankiest Beastmaster out there. So this is corruption level 1100. He also have videos and demonstrations over 1400, 1500 demonstrations. But over here, I think the 1100 demonstration is a good display of the build. So right away you can see the Beastmaster is sitting on 17,000 warding with tons of ward retention. And it is like a combo monk. Yes, you'll be stunning enemies and then one-shotting them as you stun and also group them. The build is extremely tanky and also quite mobile with leap. And as you can see, a Beastmaster usually can group tons of enemies together, stun them, and then start fury swiping them, and he jumps around. This is such a fun build to watch. I was like, hey, he's playing a different game than me. And the build is really focused on comboing correctly and also stunning enemies in his path. And because he's so tanky, he can afford to leap around and then group enemies together and then punch them to death. Yes, together with Earthquake and also with Swipe, he is doing tons of damage, and I really like the playstyle for the build. It's rare that you don't have to kill the monsters and then going for the quest objectives and then stunning them and taking them down. The build has tons of defensive potential, and you can see he's barely losing any warding because he's so tanky. And yes, the build is gonna be very durable and by far one of the tankiest builds I have learned. Together with the Paladin, I think this build will be one of the best to play in the hardcore mode if you guys can get the gears. And in terms of the damage, the build also does some decent damage. So coming over to another video from Liquid Paper to demonstrate against 100 corruption boss with the Reign of Dragon boss. So here he's using a similar build and also concepts, and let's have a look at the single target damage. Now I won't say this is going to be the highest damage build, because for those super tanky survival build, you'll be sacrificing some damage. But one of the focuses over here. Notice the boss is charging up a super massive hit, and after hitting the Beastmaster, he only took like 4,000 or 5,000 warding damage, and his warding didn't even go below 10,000 because the build is so durable. The damage figures are decent. I won't say this is going to be super high in damage, but it is very durable. And he can withstand all the attacks of the boss and just standing there and also swiping the boss to death. And again, as you guys can see, the boss's one-shot mechanics doesn't really do much to this super tanky Beastmaster. So before I jump into the builder's guide, I would like to say a big shout out and also thank you for Liquid Paper for showing us a wonderful Beastmaster build. Make sure you come over to his YouTube channel, subscribe and also follow him for the latest Beastmaster update with over 1500 corruption and also various videos on the endgame for the Beastmaster. I really had a good time learning the build, and watching the build to become super tanky was really enjoyable. So now coming over to the builder's guide. You can see that our friend Liquid Paper has provided his imported character. I have tried to optimize those gears a little bit, and max the stats, and also provide you guys with two variety of the build. One is going to be a cheaper build with only 1 to 2 legendary potential items, and the second one will be the ideal build for the endgame, having more legendary potential on various items. We'll use the endgame build as an example, but should you guys want to build this particular Beastmaster, you can see the cheaper version is not that much difference. The high-end version is 80% damage reduction, the cheaper version is 78%. You will be losing some HP over here, but the build is extremely tanky. And you can see in terms of defense, the cheaper version also has 36,000 effective HP against physical damage. So yes, if you plan to play a super tanky Beastmaster, this will be a very good build. So let's start the build with a brief summary of the skills and also passives. You can see that Earthshake will be one of the source of a major damage. This will be in the form of physical damage, and this can also create aftershocks. We'll be going with additional aftershocks and also more damage multipliers with aftershock, together with the ability to stun enemies, and also with abilities to summon aftershocks next to totems, and also dealing more aftershocks and also more damage multiplier. This will be one of a major source of damage. Now our secondary damage skill will be coming from Swipe. Swipe will give us tons of buffs and also benefits with critical strike multipliers, global attack speed, casting speed, and also a lot more stacks. Together with the ability to gain some life and also mana, and also provide us with physical shredding chances, Swipe is going to be very good for us to be taking down single target and also stronger targets with a kill threshold. Now this is also combined with the Summoning Frenzy totem, which will allow us to link the totems with a character, and this will also provide us increased damage while we're linked to the totem. The totem itself will provide us with frenzy attack and also casting speed. Together with increased global melee damage and also even more frenzy effect, this will help us to deal even more damage. Now Warcry will be one of the spells that we cast at the start of the fight. This does have a 10-second cooldown, but this will guarantee to stun enemies, which will be very important as you're gonna see a lot of our gears have increased stun chances and also stun durations. And together with this increased stun duration over here with a tier 7, we can be stunning enemies for a long time and thus dealing even more damage. Now Warcry will also provide us with 1 second invulnerability together with removing negative effects and also providing enemies with fragility debuff. Together with the abilities to gain Berserk and also having more attack speed with Berserk, this can be great defense and also offensive spell. And finally, our mobility spell will be coming from Fury Leap. This particular spell will allow us to jump around the places, and it looks pretty cool to be jumping. And we're immune to damage while jumping, and we'll also be having chances to stun enemies as we jump, having increased damage after we jump, and also gaining frenzy and also multiple buffs as we leap towards enemies, removing debuffs. Now briefly going through the passives for this Beastmaster. We'll be gaining a lot of strength wherever we can, because you're gonna see strength will scale towards armor, damage, and also intelligence with warding retention. We'll also be going with low life to have increased melee damage and also less damage taken. As you can see with the Beastmaster tree, we'll be going with a lot of increased stats while having damage reduction. And over here you can see we have increased attack speed, increased vitality, increased physical damage, and even more increased strength and also physical damage. And as we go around the other trees, you can see even higher increased strength and also finding increased armor and also attack speed while having a totem. So now coming over to the gears, and this is the secret behind how come the build is so tanky and also so durable. The first item we're going to look at is going to be this weapon. The Clever solution have a very powerful special effect that turns your intelligence equal to your strength. You can see that in my ideal endgame build, we have 175 strength, and all of a sudden we're getting 175 free intelligence. And intelligence will give us tons of ward retention. So if you come over to defense, this is how we have 700% ward retention, and this is how in most of the videos you can see our friend is sitting comfortably over 16 or 17,000 warding. And this is a very powerful weapon for this build. This also provides us with additional strength, physical melee damage, all skill ranks, and even higher physical damage. Now in terms of the warding gain, we'll be gaining warding coming from this chest and also those boots. Now because we're not going to have to stack cold resistance to gain warding through ward retention using the traditional gloves, we can be using those border fists. This particular fist will provide us with tons of armor, health, increased stun chance, and also increased stun durations. One of the better part about those gloves is that they come with 3 legendary potential quite easily, and they can come with 4 legendary potential. And I do think those gloves are not going to be very popular. So if you guys are looking for the Merchant Guild, you could pick those up into 4 legendary potentials at a cheaper price at the release of this video. I can't promise afterwards though. So now that we had a look at the gears that provide us with tons of ward retention, the next focus is coming from the block chance. This particular shield will give us tons of block chance that scales with strength. Now block chance is capped at 100%, but the focus here is having more block effectiveness. So once we block 100% chance, we're also reducing damage by 49% as we block. And this shield also provides us with health gain on block. So this is a very defensive setup that provides lots of health, lots of block, lots of defensive capacities, and also tons of strength. Now in terms of the offensive gears, we're currently looking into the peak of the mountains. As you can see, +4 ranks to Earthquake, as that is going to be the major sort of as that is going to be the cost build to do damage. Together with increased strength, increased health, and maybe increased armor if you can get on this helmet, you can be reaching so much high armor. Now this particular ring and also the belt also apply stacks of doom, which increase our melee damage with multiple stacks. So this was a combination that we used to use on the Marksman as well. And this will allow us to have up to 20 or even 25% damage multipliers for melee damage. Together with abilities to craft strength, block effectiveness, and also even more health, those rings are pretty good together with the chance to give this build some more damage, because we're super survivable and also super tanky. Now finally, in terms of the defensive capacities, the red ring and also the ominous amulet are gonna be very powerful. Now you can see that some of those items are 3 legendary potential. If you look at the second version, these items will be reduced down to 2 legendary potential or no legendary potential if you want to start up the build. So don't be too worried if you can't get into the endgame build right away, because these will be a little costly. And of course guys, coming from the amulet and also the rings, this is how the build have so much resistance and also having so much defensive capacities as well. And finally, this particular relic will give the build tons of health, tons of strength up to 16%, and also the ability to craft tier 7 strength onto most of the gears will give you tons of intelligence, tons of armor, and also even more damage. Now briefly going through the idols and also blessings. Our friend here has went for health and also increased health, together with increased health and also health for totens. Additionally, he's getting more physical resistance and also chance to summon a Thorn Totem, and also increased armor and also increased resistance for anything that is missing. Now I'm not exactly sure if those are gonna be the best idols for the build, but ideally you can go with any idols because the build is so durable. You can build for damage, or build for even more defense, or build for even more resistance. In terms of the blessings, we're going with increased health, all resistance, armor and also armor percentage, and finally increased maximum mana. I don't think the build really needs mana because we're sitting at over 300 mana. So we can go with increased lightning resistance or even warding per second if you guys want to be even more defensive. Now because Beastmaster is one of the new class and the masteries we started to learn, if you guys want to learn about leveling for Beastmaster, I'll have a link available for you guys to learn from Necro for the Beastmaster leveling. So make sure you guys use the links below the video for tons of additional information and also builds and also guides related to multiple builds. So coming over to the skill rotations for the Beastmaster. Right away you can see the build is pretty combo oriented, and what is happening right here is, let me briefly go through the skill with you guys. So he will be casting the Warcry first, which allows a character to stun enemies and also pull them together. After that, he will be casting Summoning Frenzy Totem to gain increased attack speed and also additional buffs. And then we'll be casting Earthquake to deal even more damage, followed up by Swipes. So you can see the combination of the rotations, and I'll go through this particular setup again and you can see exactly what's happening. So grouping enemies together, casting the Warcry, then casting Totems, and then casting Earthquake, and everything melts around you. Because you're so durable, you can tank up most of the enemies and cast your combos. But in other times, you can just cast your Earthquake and also swipe and kill them down. Now the build really looks like a monk to me, to be honest. I'm not sure how you guys feel about it. I really like the monk back in Diablo 3. And this build reminds me of a monk that is jumping around, which is actually pretty hilarious. So the build is very durable, and you can afford to just tank up, stun them, and then one-shot them with your combos. Now in terms of the skill rotations for the boss, well, it is pretty straightforward. Because you're so durable, you just leap into the boss, cast your spells, and then start Fury Spiking, and then make sure you keep up with Earthquake. And in doing so, you will just be doing sustained damage while become super tanky against the boss. You can tank most of the boss's attacks, and you don't have to dodge much. But should you need to be dodging, you can be leaping around, getting invulnerable to damage while you leap. Remember guys, you also gain 1 second invulnerability after casting Warcry. So the build is super tanky, have multiple ways to become invulnerable, and then dealing more damage as you tank up all the damage over here. Now, having the ability to have a 14% kill threshold will help the build. And you can see over here, the monsters around 14% HP, especially for bosses, they will die in one shot. So make sure you're casting swipe when the monster gets the low HP as well. Now, if you guys enjoy this creative Beastmaster build with Earthquake and also super tanky, make sure you also come over to our Discord to share any cool builds you find and also be asking me questions on particular builds and also different setups. And if you haven't joined Discord, we have lots of members who are helping each other, lots of tips and also lots of ways to make the game even more enjoyable. And yes, if you do discover a cool build, let me know so we can be sharing with the last Epoch community as well. Now, if you guys find my videos and also guides helpful and also want to support my passion in making more guides and also more videos for the last Epoch and also more games to come like Path of Exile, please consider joining me on Patreon, and also here I have created my Ko-Fi page. You can also support me directly through donations, but supporting me continuously with one of those memberships will mean a lot for my future updated videos and to become financially sustainable so I can be continuing making videos for you guys and doing what I love the most. And that is to share and also teach our communities as I dive into different games and making more guides for you guys. And as you guys are going to see in the future, I'll have different ranks and also perk advantages and also special events and also special features for members like account reviews, perfecting the build for you guys, and also co-op time play, and also even special future videos for you guys on your special build for different members.